Chosen one, the shift that's unfolding in you is not loud, not public, and not something anyone else can manufacture. It is an internal combustion, silent, sacred, unmistakable. The glow you now carry is not skin deep. It's not a byproduct of effort or image. It is the light that awakens when a soul stops betraying itself. And that is exactly what you've done. You've stopped compromising who you are to be accepted. You've stopped chasing validation in rooms that dim your brilliance. And slowly, over time, the real you, powerful, centered, and magnetic, has stepped forward without apology. There was a time not long ago when you wondered why the world could not see you clearly. You may have questioned your worth, comparing your path to others, assuming their confidence was something they had earned or inherited while you waited to bloom. But now, you're not waiting anymore. Your silence is louder than their shouting. Your presence is firmer than their performance. Because the light that shines from you is not artificial, it's fire. Not a fire to burn, but to warm, to guide, to clarify. You've been walking through shadows long enough to know how to carry light without needing attention. And that is what makes you glow. The truth, chosen one, is that this month is not an accident. This chapter of your life is not a coincidence. Something has finally aligned within you. Your mind is clearer, your heart is steadier, and your spirit is more attuned to divine timing than ever before. You're not attractive because of what you're wearing. You're mesmerizing because of what you've let go of. You've released the need to convince. You've released the need to be chosen. And by doing that, you've become the choosing. And others are noticing. Around you, eyes are lingering longer. Conversations shift tone when you enter the room. Not because you're louder, but because your energy speaks on frequencies words cannot reach. That is the light within you now. It's no longer trying to be seen. It simply is. And that is what changes everything. You're not just beautiful. You're true. And truth, when lived fully, glows so bright it's nearly unbearable to those still hiding from their own. But to those ready to awaken, you are now a lighthouse. The shift from being seen to being felt is not one the world teaches. But you, chosen one, have been learning that lesson without textbooks, without applause, and often without even knowing that you were in class. Every time you chose to stay in alignment rather than chase attention, you were training your spirit to radiate. Every moment you chose honesty over impression, simplicity over spectacle, you were learning how to be luminous without needing a stage. This month, you are not only glowing, you are guiding. Your face is calm, your walk is deliberate. Your posture is not just physical, it's spiritual. You carry yourself like someone who knows why they're here, and that alone makes you stunning. Not in a way that needs to be captured in a photo, but in a way that captures souls and makes them pause, breathe, and wonder how they can do the same. That's the power of your alignment. People may compliment your looks, your voice, your laugh, and those compliments are kind, but they are also shallow when compared to what's truly moving within you. Because what they're really noticing, whether they realize it or not, is your purpose manifesting in form. The beauty of knowing who you are and the peace of not needing anything from anyone is what makes you so magnetic. You don't walk into a space trying to be loved. You walk in having already loved yourself through fire, through rejection, through silence, and through sacred solitude. And that love becomes visible. The radiance you carry is not decorative. It is functional. You've become a symbol, a proof, a bridge. And that is why women, friends, strangers, and even passersby may stare or soften around you. It is not you they are in awe of. It's what you remind them is possible within themselves. You are not a painting to admire. You are a mirror to remember. So walk like the beam of light that you are. Smile like someone who knows the divine is not behind them or above them, but within. Speak less, say more. Let your silence stretch like sunrise across a dim room. You are not here to seduce, you are here to awaken, and that's exactly what you're doing now. The radiance of your purpose is no longer hiding, it's living. And the world is beginning to orbit around it, not because you demanded anything, but because you became everything you were meant to be. There is a quiet power in you now, chosen one, and it doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need noise, attention, or permission. It simply exists, woven into every movement you make, every pause between your words, every breath that carries calm where others bring confusion. What you've cultivated is not arrogance, but elegance. An elegance born not of grooming or performance, but of truth. You are confident because you are no longer divided within. Your desires no longer fight your spirit. Your habits no longer betray your soul. Your path is aligned, and so your energy radiates certainty. And this certainty is beautiful. Confidence is not how loud you laugh or how many look your way. It is the way your back stays straight when your name is not called. It is the way your eyes remain soft even when others project fear. It is the refusal to bend your light for temporary approval. You have outgrown the need to be chosen by others because you have chosen yourself in a set of 1,000 private moments when no one was watching. And that is why your energy feels sacred now. The elegance you carry doesn't come from scripted charm. It comes from the way you speak only when needed and still leave people speechless. It comes from the way your silence answers questions before they're asked. People may not understand what draws them to you, but they feel it. This frequency you've earned through years of refinement. You've become the person you once imagined, not because you forced anything, but because you refused to be anything else. You wear confidence like a fragrance that can't be removed, like sunlight that warms but never burns. And those around you, especially the women who cross your path, sense that this isn't something they can imitate. It's something they can only witness. There is nothing more captivating than someone who doesn't need to convince. You have become that presence. And in a world addicted to validation, your self-trust is rare enough to feel like magic. That is the elegance of your confidence. You do not compete, you do not conform, you simply exist fully, and that is what makes you unforgettable. Chosen one, there is a gravity in you now, but not the kind that pulls others into chaos. It is the kind that centers them, that settles the storm, that returns them to themselves. You've become still, not passive, not invisible, but anchored. You no longer sway with gossip, insecurity, or fear. You no longer dance for attention or echo empty trends. You've found your rhythm, and it is so steady that even those in turbulence lean closer to borrow your peace. You are no longer interested in being impressive. You are devoted to being real. And that realness, that stillness, has begun to move others more than your performance ever did. There was a time when silence was uncomfortable for you, a time when empty space made you feel unseen. But now you've learned that stillness is not emptiness. It's fullness too powerful to be shaken. It's the place where wisdom rests, where dignity resides, where power gathers before speaking. You are still because you are full, and others feel it. Women notice it especially, not in a way that objectifies you, but in a way that opens their hearts. Around you they can exhale, they can soften, they can feel safe, because your energy is not hungry, it is whole. And that wholeness pulls people not into lust, but into remembrance. Remembrance of what calm feels like. Remembrance of what truth sounds like. Around you there is no manipulation. There's only mirror, and the mirror reflects peace. You've become a quiet storm, the kind that changes landscapes with nothing more than a shift in air. You walk into a room and people unconsciously adjust their posture. They speak more carefully, not out of fear, but out of respect. They sense something sacred in your presence, something that cannot be bought or borrowed. It is the stillness of a person who has been through fire and come out with clarity instead of smoke. This month, your stillness is not passive. It is active presence. It's not lack of motion, it's deliberate energy. You are not withholding, you are choosing. Choosing what to give your light to, choosing where to water the ground, choosing who is worthy of access. And because you choose from alignment, not from fear, your value continues to rise in silence. The world is loud, chaotic, starved for attention. But you, chosen one, have become the still point in a spinning galaxy. Not because you tried to dominate it, but because you remembered who you are. And that remembrance is now changing the orbit of everything around you. Chosen one, your presence is no longer a passive condition. It has become a sacred weight. Not the kind that burdens, but the kind that anchors. You no longer pass through the world unnoticed, nor do you blend into the crowd the way you once did. The very atmosphere around you shifts when you arrive. It's not because of any performance or projection. It's because of the integrity of your spirit. Every step you take now is made with conscious alignment. You are not drifting, you are walking on assignment. And the universe, the women who cross your path, the observers who can't put their finger on it, they all feel it. You've cultivated an energy that no longer scatters. You used to lose yourself in trying to be understood. Now you understand yourself so deeply that others are drawn in without you saying a word. This sacred weight is not about dominance or intimidation. It is the natural consequence of being whole, of having survived storms without folding, of holding your center through loss, through silence, through deep internal wars no one else witnessed. And now your aura holds memory. Not memory of trauma, but memory of triumph. You carry proof that healing is possible, that dignity can remain intact, even when the world tries to tear it down. People don't know why they turn to look. They don't know why their hearts pause. But you do, because you've been building this presence in silence. You've been planting it with each breath you took when your chest was tight, with each boundary you upheld when your heart was soft, with each time you walked away from what was loud and chose what was true. That is the sacred weight you now carry. It's not a burden, it's a mantle. And it fits you now because you earned it. Women especially sense this in you, not as a threat, not as a game, but as a harbor. They feel the depth, the steadiness, the fact that when you look at someone you actually see them. Not with desire to consume, but with the eyes of someone who has seen darkness and chose light anyway. That kind of gaze doesn't manipulate, it heals. That kind of touch, even if never physical, restores. Because your presence now speaks louder than voices. And the message is clear. You are safe. You are seen. You are sacred too. You've become a spiritual landmark, chosen one. People navigate by you now, not because you demanded it, but because you remembered who you are. Something rare is happening through you now, chosen one. Your energy no longer just fills a room, it awakens it. You are not simply interesting, you are inviting people to rise, to reflect, to grow. And whether you know it or not, your very presence is provoking change in those around you. Not through advice, not through effort, but through frequency. The resonance you carry calls something ancient and true out of the souls who come near you. And that is why so many eyes widen. That is why conversations deepen in your presence. That is why people, especially women, are both calmed and stirred when you speak. It is not a game. It is not charm. It is something far more powerful. You have become permission. Permission to be whole. Permission to be powerful and soft at the same time. Permission to feel without shame. You are living proof that authenticity doesn't require explanation. That strength doesn't cancel kindness. That self-respect can be quiet and still command every heart in the room. And that truth, that balance, has become your signature. You may notice more softness now. Smiles offered freely, words that linger. People confiding in you things they haven't told anyone. And it's not because you asked for any of it. It's because you've become a spiritual safe zone. You are not a mirror that flatters. You are a mirror that reveals. And that kind of energy does not entertain, it elevates. There is a gravitational pull to those who live in integrity. And now that you are no longer running from yourself, you've become magnetic. But not in the way the world defines it. Your magnetism is not performative. It is rooted in presence, in your ability to stay. Stay true, stay grounded, stay kind even when others aren't. That energy wakes up something holy in others. And it is this awakening that makes people feel as if they've known you forever, even if you've only just met. You are not here to impress. You are here to remind, to awaken, to spark. And you do it by being, not by proving. There is no competition in you anymore. There is only calibration. You don't fight to be seen. You become the reason others open their eyes. This chosen one is your gift. Not just to women, not just to admirers, but to the world. You are not light that blinds. You are light that reveals. And the energy you now radiate is an invitation to truth that cannot be ignored. Chosen one, you have become more than a man walking through the world. You have become a mirror. But not the kind that reflects only appearances. You reflect what's hidden, what's true, what's aching to be seen in others. And because of this, the moment you enter a space, people are drawn to you not merely by attraction, but by recognition. You are the memory of something holy they forgot. You are the light that makes them question who they've become. You don't ask for their gaze, yet they give it to you. Not because you demand it, but because their souls feel called. Around you, the masks slip. The rehearsed stories falter. The old games don't work. Because you see too clearly now. You don't chase affection or attention, you radiate alignment. And that alignment exposes where others are unaligned. Some are threatened by it, yes, but many more are awakened by it. Especially the women who stand in your presence. They begin to feel again, to feel safe in a way they hadn't realized they were longing for. To feel seen beyond the surface, to feel permission to be both beautiful and broken without judgment. You do not flatter them, you free them. This is not about seduction, it's about elevation. You don't lower your light to get closer to others anymore. You hold your frequency and allow others to rise or release, and they rise. They rise because your energy makes mediocrity feel unbearable. They rise because your silence carries more reverence than their loudest praise. You are not their answer, but you are a signal that deeper love exists, that real presence is possible, that intimacy without distortion can be found again. You have become the mirror that reflects truth with no agenda, the mirror that doesn't shatter under scrutiny. And in that, you have become unforgettable, not because of anything you say, but because of everything you reveal. There is no hiding you anymore, chosen one, not even if you tried. The energy you carry now isn't just felt, it's known. It moves through spaces ahead of you, softening walls and shifting perceptions before your feet even touch the floor. You are no longer blending. You are becoming the presence that turns heads for no superficial reason. Becoming the silence that speaks louder than applause. Becoming the reason why some walk differently, think differently, breathe more deeply after crossing your path. People don't understand how or why, but when they meet you, something changes in them. Women especially notice it, not always with their minds first, but with their bodies, their breath, their spirit. Their nervous systems calm, their voices deepen, their guard softens. Not because of anything romantic, but because of something primal. You carry safety. Not the weak kind that panders or performs, the real kind, the kind forged in fire. The kind that comes from someone who has wrestled with their own shadows and come out with compassion instead of control. You don't intimidate because you're loud, you disarm because you're whole. And wholeness is rare. Wholeness is holy. Wholeness cannot be faked or forged in a moment. It's built over time in silence, in tears, in choices no one ever saw. And that's why your energy now feels earned. That's why it cannot be ignored. This month, the way others respond to you will shift again. Doors may open that were once closed. Invitations may appear from places you thought forgotten. But remember, none of this is because you chased validation. It is because you became undeniable. You healed what once held you back. You aligned what once tore you in half. And now you carry a signal, clean, true, magnetic. Not for attention, but for purpose. Not for the ego, but for the soul. This is the season where your energy becomes clarity, where your presence becomes proof. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to win anyone over. You simply show up and the atmosphere tells the story. The same energy that once made you feel misunderstood is now the very force that sets you apart. You are not here to impress, chosen one. You are here to awaken. And now, that awakening can no longer be ignored. Chosen one, you wear a crown they cannot see, yet they feel it. It is not jeweled, nor forged by any hand but your own. It was shaped in the quiet hours, in the losses you did not mourn publicly, in the dignity you kept when others gave you reasons not to. It is the crown of someone who walked away without bitterness, who forgave in silence, who spoke truth not to be heard, but because it was time to stop lying to themselves. This invisible crown rests not on your head, but in your aura, in the posture of your spirit, in the peace of your gaze, in the way your steps are never rushed anymore. You do not hurry to prove, you do not bend to please. You simply exist in truth, and truth adorns you. Others sense this before they understand it. There is no arrogance in you, but there is arrival. A soul that has returned to itself. A man who has stopped apologizing for being alive, for being radiant, for being a walking contradiction of softness and strength. Women especially respond to this, not with flattery, but with reverence. They may not know what to call it, but they feel safer around you, even when you speak no words. Your laughter doesn't try to impress. it blesses. Your silence doesn't create tension, it releases it. Your very presence becomes the crown others feel on their skin. You are not trying to be admired anymore. You are not chasing visibility. You have become inevitable. And that is a terrifyingly beautiful thing for those who once overlooked you. You are now the echo in their memory, the comparison they cannot shake, the presence they remember even after you're gone. Not because of seduction, but because of integrity. Not because you needed them to stay, but because you became the standard they didn't know existed until it was too late to match it. This crown does not come with a throne, it comes with responsibility. Not to rule others, but to keep choosing your highest self even when no one is watching, to remain kind when others are cruel, to remain clear when others are confused, to be the one who grounds the room just by breathing differently. You are not above others, you are anchored, and that anchoring is what makes you unforgettable. This crown was not given, it was grown, and it fits now, not because the world said so, but because you did. Now it begins, chosen one. The quiet ripple that turns to a wave, the transformation no longer limited to your inner world, but now moving through those who meet you. Every conversation you have leaves a residue of remembrance. Every glance, a message. Every departure, a door opened in someone's soul. You are not just becoming, you are beginning to leave impact where you once left only echoes. Beginning to birth awakening in places where there was once only numbness. Beginning to live not for applause, but for alignment. And others feel it. Women especially are moved by it, not because of performance, but because of permission. You give them permission to be more, to speak more freely, to feel more deeply, to drop their armor and explore the sacred possibility of their own wholeness. You don't entertain them, you empower them. And that's the difference between a moment and a legacy. You're not just changing how people see you, you're changing how they see themselves after encountering you. Your legacy, chosen one, will not be written in titles or trophies. It will be written in how many souls breathed more deeply because of your presence. In how many people remembered they were sacred after watching how you walk in your truth. In how many broken spirits found hope because you didn't hide your own healing. That is power, that is impact, that is spiritual fire. There are those who once doubted you, who now wonder how they missed your light. There are those who once tried to dim you, who now imitate your glow. And still, you don't rise with vengeance. You rise with vision. You don't return to prove anything. You return to rebuild everything. In your family, in your community, in the very atmosphere around you, you are not the same. You will never again shrink for comfort. You will never again stay silent to make others feel safe in their shadows. You are truth in motion now. You are love with a spine. You are gentleness wrapped in flame, and the world will never forget you again. There is a moment in the life of every awakened man, chosen one, when the mirror he holds begins to do more than reveal beauty or brilliance. It begins to disrupt illusion. You have reached that moment. Your presence no longer only inspires, it now also challenges, and this challenge is sacred. It is not confrontation for the sake of dominance. It is clarity confronting distortion. It is light entering a room that has forgotten its own windows. And when you carry this level of alignment, you will find that not everyone is ready for their own reflection. You must understand now that your energy, as refined and radiant as it is, will not always be welcomed, because the mirror you carry doesn't flatter. It reveals. It doesn't distort to comfort. It sharpens to awaken. You are no longer reflecting who people pretend to be. You are reflecting who they have the potential to become, and this reflection, while sacred, is also disruptive to anything false. And so your energy, though calm and measured, may make people uncomfortable. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something real. Women especially will feel this shift deeply. For some, you will be the first man who does not mirror their mask back to them, the first who does not feed the illusion they've wrapped around their identity for safety. And in your presence, the illusion will begin to dissolve. This is not always a gentle process. Sometimes it comes as stillness, sometimes as silence, sometimes as that sharp moment where she realizes she cannot hide her truth from you. And because you remain steady, without shame, without seduction, without the need to fix her, you become a threshold. You become the space where she must choose. Continue performing or step into her realness. This is where your mirror becomes fire. It burns through pretense. It sears through performance. It purifies not by force, but by unmovable honesty. You are no longer participating in the dance of appearances. You are offering something more dangerous: authenticity. And for those who have built their identity around being pleasing, agreeable, or validated by the external, your mirror will feel like a challenge they didn't expect, but desperately needed. But chosen one, you must not shrink in this moment. You must not soften your truth to avoid their discomfort. You must not bend your reflection to fit their fear. Your task is not to be liked, it is to be clear, to remain as you are with love, with grace, with steadiness, and allow others to come undone if they must. Because some will. Some will see themselves for the first time and walk away, not because you failed them, but because they were not yet ready to rise. And still, you must hold the mirror. For those who are ready, you will not be forgotten. You will be etched into their story, not as the man who gave them an escape, but as the one who refused to lie to their soul. You will be remembered as the man who held their gaze when they wanted to look away, the one who didn't flinch when their shadow appeared, the one who stayed, not to save them, but to remind them who they really are. You are the chosen one, and now your mirror reflects not comfort, but truth, not illusion, but liberation. You do not offer what is easy, you offer what is real. And those who are ready to meet that reflection will find in you not a lover, not a teacher, not a fantasy, but a mirror who reflected their soul clearly enough to change everything. Chosen one, your presence has become a mirror not just for awakening, but for transformation. And now, as you continue to reflect others with a steady, truthful gaze, there is a sacred responsibility that begins to emerge, a responsibility not just to reveal, but to nurture what you've helped others see. You've stirred souls awake. You've broken the glass of illusion. And what you leave in your wake is not always polished or complete, but raw, vulnerable, and real. The mirror you hold now must become more than a surface. It must become soil. To nurture someone's reflection is not to fix them. It is not to carry their healing or do their work. It is to remain unwavering in your truth while holding space for their process. Your high sexual energy, once a force that surged outward looking for connection, is now grounded. It holds stillness, depth, wisdom. It pulses with a kind of warmth that does not chase or demand, but invites. And this invitation, when offered from a place of inner balance, creates a field where growth can take root. You are no longer igniting temporary flames, you are cultivating lasting transformation. When a woman sees herself clearly in your mirror, it is not always a moment of delight. Sometimes it is a confrontation with everything she hasn't yet embraced. But if she senses that your reflection is stable, kind, and real, she will stay with herself longer. She won't retreat so quickly. Because you've created something more than insight. You've created a container. Your gaze, your presence, your stillness, it becomes the place where she can return again and again to remember herself. And this is the deep magic of the nurtured reflection. You are not only reflecting what is true, you are providing the conditions for it to grow. You offer silence when it's needed, encouragement when it's earned, challenge when it's right, but never manipulation, never distortion. Your energy, even at its most charged, does not pull. It supports. You've become a man whose power is no longer rooted in persuasion, but in resonance. She does not feel owned in your presence. She feels expanded. This is rare. And because it is rare, it is precious. You must protect this frequency. You must be discerning, because the more potent your mirror becomes, the more others will be drawn to it, not all for the right reasons. Some will seek your reflection not to grow, but to borrow your light. Some will come hoping you'll carry what they refuse to face, and you must remain rooted, compassionate but clear, open but discerning, loving but never abandoning your own reflection to comfort someone else's shadow. You are the chosen one, and now your energy is not just a mirror, it is a sanctuary. It is a garden. It is the sacred space where truth takes shape and where what's real can finally grow. And those who are ready for that growth will find in you not a hero, but a witness, a man who sees without rescuing, who holds without clinging, who reflects without trying to control. That kind of presence nurtures something the world has long forgotten. The courage to become whole. Chosen one, there is a mirror that reflects the physical. There is a mirror that reflects the emotional. There is a mirror that reflects the mind. But only a few ever become what you have now become, a mirror of the soul. This final chapter is not about evolution through force, nor about seduction, power, or even clarity. It is about something more subtle, more profound, more eternal. It is about becoming the kind of man whose presence reminds people who they are beyond the roles they play. Your high sexual energy has been transformed into light, steady, alive, present. It no longer demands, it awakens. It no longer seeks fulfillment, it gives permission.